I think we're good. Yeah, all right. Good morning. My name's Akil Davis. I'm the Assistant Director of the FBI's Los Angeles Field Office. I'm going to announce the order of the speakers today, starting with United States Attorney Martina Estrada. Then myself, I'll speak second. Mayor Karen Bass, Los Angeles Police Department Chief Chow and Chief Choi will be standing up. Ventura County Sheriff Jim Fryoff, Ventura County District Attorney Eric Nasarenko, and Orange County District Attorney Todd Spitzer. And then I will turn it over again to my colleague, United States Attorney Martina Estrada. Without further ado, Martina.
Well, good morning, and thank you all for being here with us. We're here today to announce federal criminal charges against a group that facilitated and organized crime tourism from South America. As many of you know, crime tourism is a major problem affecting communities throughout our nation. Crime tourism occurs when foreign nationals come to this country for the purpose of committing crimes, most often crimes such as thefts of property or money. In recent years, we've seen an increase in these crimes committed by crime tourists, including things such as home burglaries, thefts from vehicles, shoplifting, and stolen credit card and debit cards. These crimes carry real costs for individuals and for businesses. Many of these crime tourists are from South America, more specifically from the country of Chile. Chile is the only Latin American country that is part of the visa waiver program. This allows people in Chile to obtain automatic tourist visas without going through the usual vetting that other tourist visas require. This is not just a local problem. The crimes are affecting not just one city, one county, one region, one state, but the entire country. But the effects of crime tourism are being felt very acutely here in Southern California. We've been feeling the effects of home burglaries that have shot up over the past 2 years. My colleagues here in local law enforcement will talk more about that. Law enforcement is aware of this threat and is taking action. My local partners will talk about their increased work prosecuting these crime tourists. But this is a problem that no one city, county, or department can handle alone. It requires collaboration from all law enforcement, from all public officials working together. My office, the United States Attorney's Office, is taking this issue very seriously. Now, we generally do not prosecute home burglaries and thefts from cars. That is something generally outside of our jurisdiction. What we can do, and what we do very well, is go after criminal organizations. And what we've learned is that there are organized criminal groups that are helping to facilitate and organize crime tourism. That's what we're here to talk about today. The announcement we make today is about a criminal conspiracy that acted as an organizer and facilitator for crime tourism from South America. This group essentially acted as a linchpin for South American crime tourists who wanted to come to our country, take advantage of our liberties to steal from the American people. This group not just facilitated crime tourism, but in many cases actively directed it. The charges we announced today are against a group of defendants who ran a rental car business in Los Angeles. This was no ordinary car rental business. This business catered only to crooks. Here is how the operation would work. Crime tourists would go to this car rental business. There they'd be provided with a vehicle. They would also be directed, since many of them were not familiar with the country, to where to go to commit acts of crime and theft. In fact, the defendants insisted that these crime tourists present them with false identifications. If you came to them with a legitimate ID, they would turn you away. And that's how they tried to keep some sort of distance from the crimes that were occurring. Once the crime tourists had gone across the country and stolen merchandise, money, credit cards, debit cards, they would send much of that back to the defendants. The defendants would then fence or sell that merchandise and take a percentage of the profits. They would also have the crime tourists use the stolen credit cards and debit cards to purchase gift cards at places like Best Buy and Target. The defendants would take these gift cards and then go and purchase themselves electronics and other high-end items. In this way, the defendants acted essentially as quarterbacks for a massive team of eager thieves. Just to give you an idea of the scope of this issue, just during the period of our investigation, from 2018 to 2024, we found that this particular group of facilitators helped to organize and facilitate about 120 burglaries or thefts around the country. These thefts occurred in at least 80 cities throughout our country. The defendants received about $5.5 million from these thefts, but the losses to individuals and businesses are well north of $35 million. The defendants helped these crime tourists commit crimes throughout our region: Los Angeles County, Orange County, Ventura County, Santa Barbara County, and also throughout our state, from the San Francisco Bay Area all the way down to San Diego. They also helped these crime tourists commit these crimes throughout the country, from the New York area through the Midwest, the Pacific Northwest, the Sun Belt, the Colorado Mountains, Florida, even Alaska. These burglaries were also remarkably brazen. And just to give you a few examples, one was a burglary from a jewelry store in Menlo Park, California, in the San Francisco Bay Area. We have some photos of the merchandise that was stolen. They went to a jewelry store and they stole about $5 million worth of luxury watches and high-end items such as multi-carat yellow diamond rings. In another series of burglaries, the crime tourists stole from Best Buy stores in Virginia, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, and stole about $700,000 in merchandise. And most recently, these crime tourists robbed a jewelry store in Denver, Colorado, and made off with about $30 million in jewelry and luxury items. We've charged 7 defendants in this case, 6 individuals, and 1 business, their car rental business known as Drive Power Rental. They're facing serious federal charges, including conspiracy to commit wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to transport stolen goods. The lead defendants are Juan Carlos Tola and Ana Arriaga, and they are facing maximum sentences of 335 years and 290 years, respectively, in federal prison. Our message to crime tourists is this: your days are numbered. We are working collaboratively with our local partners to address this problem. In addition to this case we announced today, over the past year, we filed over 24 cases against crime tourists from Romania who committed identity theft against EBT funds. These are funds meant for those in poverty, those who need public benefits. Our state has lost tens of millions of dollars as a result. In another case that we indicted this week, we indicted 2 South American crime tourists who committed an armed robbery in Beverly Hills, stole a watch worth $1 million, committed the crime in broad daylight in front of the victim's family, and were found in possession of a gun that used to belong to the serial killer Christopher Dorner. These are just examples. We will continue to collaborate with our local partners to bring serious federal charges against these crime tourists. In conclusion, let me say this: this country has always prized freedom. Our liberties and opportunities are the envy of the world. That is why our country is a beacon of hope across the globe, and why people have always wanted to come to this country for a better life. But we are no safe harbor for criminals. Those thinking they can come to our country, take advantage of our liberties, and steal from the American people should think again. There will be serious consequences for those people, and we will collaborate with our local partners in creative ways to make sure we're holding you accountable. Now let me give some thanks for this investigation. This was a true team effort. I want to thank the task force that was involved in this case, comprised of the FBI, Los Angeles Police Department, the Ventura County Sheriff's Office, and also the District Attorney's Offices of Ventura and Orange County. We also received assistance from the IRS and U.S. Postal Inspection Service. And last but not least, I'd like to thank the Assistant United States Attorneys responsible for this investigation and prosecutions, Assistant United States Attorney Jennifer Cho and Lindsay Bailey. Now I will introduce and bring to the podium Assistant Director in charge of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Akil Davis.
Thanks, Marty. Excuse me. Good morning. As stated, my name is Akil Davis. I'm the Assistant Director in charge of the FBI's Los Angeles Field Office. Today's investigation netted 6 subjects. All 6 subjects that were indicted are in custody at this point. Our task force and agents and officers around the Southland served 11 federal search warrants, mostly in and around the San Fernando Valley, but also locations as far north as Santa Barbara, Santa Clarita, and Palmdale. We're in the process of seizing 25 vehicles, several properties, and possibly even some horses. As United States Attorney Martin Estrada acknowledged, this was a whole of government effort for the Southland. I specifically would like to, again, say thanks to Orange County and Ventura County District Attorney's Office, United States Postal Inspector, but specifically, I'd like to throw a shout out to our colleagues at the Meriwether County Sheriff's Department in Georgia, as well as the Scottsdale Police Department in Arizona. I highlight this because this was a collaborative interstate effort in which those property detectives in those states worked with our Major Theft Task Force to target and identify the facilitators of this network. These investigations usually target a spoke in a very, very large wheel. Where this investigation differs is the Major Theft Task Force, with significant help from the Los Angeles Police Department and the Ventura County Sheriff's Department, targeted the entire wheel. And that is why an investigation like this takes many years. But we were able to disrupt them. And what this investigation did for us is it paved the way. It created a blueprint for future investigations. We are not done here targeting South American theft groups. They have seriously impacted our quality of life in the Southland, and the FBI is committed to further investigating these groups wherever they arise. Thank you for your time today. I now turn it over to Mayor Karen Bass.
Good afternoon, everyone. I first want to begin by thanking all of our law enforcement partners. Definitely thank you, U.S. Attorney Estrada, the LAPD, our regional partners, the FBI. Thank you so much. This announcement represents the urgent coordination that the Chief and I have been working on for a very long time. Make no mistake, this is not the end of our work. It is ongoing. And recently, I've been meeting with residents from the Valley, from Brentwood, Encino, and I just have to tell you that those neighborhoods have been terrified and terrorized by what has been happening. We have increased crime suppression efforts in these areas along with our partners, and we will continue this effort because obviously the goal of all of us up here is to make our communities safer. I also want to join U.S. Attorney Estrada in thanking the prosecutors on this case. The relief that you have given to the neighbors, I look forward to leaving this press conference and calling those neighborhood associations specifically to let them know about this. But as we continue these efforts on the ground, we also need support and cooperation from our international partners by making sure that individuals who enter the country are properly vetted. Again, I want to thank U.S. Attorney Estrada and all of our partners that are here today. This is, I know, an ongoing investigation. We have to continue this until we end this practice. And I will tell you, it was specifically alarming to hear about the crimes committed by crime tourism all around the country. So this is a major step forward, and I hope that it brings relief to our neighbors in the Los Angeles area and in Southern California. And now I'd like to introduce Assistant Chief Chow.
Thank you, Mayor.
Hi, good morning. My name is Blake Chow, B-L-A-K-E-C-H-O-W. I'm Assistant Chief with LAPD, Office of Special Operations. Thank you, Mayor, Chief Choi, and thank you to my partner here in the U.S. Attorney's Office. And I just want to, before I begin, I want to reiterate and this message to our community. We will keep you safe, and to those that are coming in and terrorizing our communities, we will catch you. So public safety, and I'm going to speak from a local perspective, public safety and safety is something that each member of our community deserves. No matter where they live, work, or play in Los Angeles or the region, the safety and the feeling of safety in our community is a right that they have. When they go home from work, when they go out to eat, when they come visit Los Angeles, they have a right to feel safe. But unfortunately, there are bad actors and groups and organizations that prey on our most vulnerable in this region. And this not only victimizes the people that are the victims of the crimes that we're talking about, but it shatters a sense of safety and security that our community members want and desire. So we're here to highlight the regional work of our local law enforcement agencies, our federal law enforcement partners, the regional district attorneys that we have standing on our right, and also, of course, to our United States Attorney, who has been such a partner to us in many other things, not just this. But this group has been put together to not only take down these criminals, but to restore the feeling of safety in our communities. And while crime statistics don't tell the whole story, I wanted just to share some really brief crime statistics that illustrate why we all are here and what we're doing to help that. So as far as burglary is concerned, burglaries citywide are down, but in some parts of the city, in the last 8 weeks, they're up. That's what we respond to. That's what we look at every Monday, and that's what we respond to with our commercial crimes division, with our task force, and with our investigative branch here in Los Angeles that is investigating these. Many of these burglaries are committed again by South American crews, but there are also other parts of the city that you've seen on the news lately where we have crews from other parts of the city. Robberies, citywide robberies are down in the last 8 weeks, but again, in other parts of the city, they're up. And that is why we're here again. And the motor vehicle theft, one would think, what does motor vehicle theft have to do with this? Well, the stolen vehicles are often used by crews to commit these burglaries and other crimes. So citywide motor vehicle theft is down in the last 8 weeks, but it is up in parts of the city. Again, those statistics are what we look at every Monday, and the chief and I discuss where we're going to put our resources to respond to that, to keep our cities safe. But one thing I want to reiterate to people that are in our community, those statistics are not just numbers, but each one of those statistics represents a victim. It's people, it's men, women, husbands, wives, brothers, sisters, and children that are victims of the crimes that we are having an impact. And again, that's why we are here united against these criminals and predators to our community members. The Los Angeles Police Department Commercial Crimes Division houses the FBI Major Theft Task Force, which is the task force that did this great work today. And our primary mission is the identification and pursuit of the South American theft groups, as well as other groups that are preying upon our community members. And I'd just like to say we stand as a law enforcement community, we stand by our community to ensure that safety, public safety is job one. And nothing will happen to our community on our watch. And that's why this effort that we are highlighting today is going to continue. So I would like to next introduce the Ventura County Sheriff, Jim Fryoff.
Thank you, Assistant Chief Choi. Good morning, everyone. As stated, I am Ventura County Sheriff Jim Fryoff. It is a privilege to be here today to discuss a troubling trend in our country, crime tourism. I want to extend my gratitude to the U.S. Attorney's Office for organizing this important gathering, as it affects all of our communities. Ventura County first encountered the issue of crime tourism in 2018 in the city of Thousand Oaks, specifically the communities of North Ranch and Westlake Village. 6 years. 6 years that our communities have been terrorized by these groups coming here to do harm to our community members. These criminals specifically targeted homes that back end up to open space by breaking in through rear sliders. In 2019, Thousand Oaks Special Enforcement Unit made a breakthrough by arresting 3 Chilean nationals involved in numerous residential and commercial burglaries. During our investigation, we discovered that these individuals were using vehicles supplied from a company called Driver Power Network. Through collaborative effort and information sharing with our federal partners, our investigators learned that Juan Carlos Tola, who is essentially the ringleader of this organized retail theft group, was supplying vehicles and material support to Chilean nationals, which they used to facilitate their criminal activity. Further investigation revealed that the Driver Power Network vehicles were being utilized in criminal activities across the United States. As this troubling trend continued, we decided to take decisive action. Ventura County Sheriff's detectives initiated a task force with our partners, the FBI, Orange County Sheriff's Department, the Los Angeles Police Department, the DA's offices as well as the Beverly Hills Police Department, with one goal in mind: dismantle these crime terrorism groups. Since 2019, I'm proud to say that we have arrested over 130 suspects responsible for perpetrating these crimes, with a vast majority using vehicles from Driver Power Network. But our efforts did not stop there. Our task force has been instrumental in bringing us to today's arrests and indictments. Our number one goal has been stated, is to keep our community safe. What we have here is an amazing team. This is what happens when nobody cares who takes credit for it. This is what happens when we work together to keep our community safe. And I'm proud to introduce my partner in Ventura County DA, Eric Nazarenko.
Thank you very much, Sheriff Freihoff. My name is Eric Nazarenko, the Ventura County District Attorney. I too would like to thank our partner, U.S. Attorney Estrada, and his team for bringing us all here today and for their vigorous prosecution of these criminal defendants. In Ventura County, we have been fighting crime tourism since 2018. Our Sheriff Office Task Force, in concert with the FBI, has done incredible work attacking this problem, arresting and investigating individuals who come to this country for one purpose: to commit crime. As a result of these investigative efforts, our office has filed 62 criminal cases, naming over 130 criminal defendants. Our prosecutors have reviewed more than 600 search warrants regarding crime tourism cases. Today, however, thanks to our federal partners, a behind-the-scenes mastermind who promoted and supplied foreign nationals with the tools to commit those crimes has been arrested and charged. Tola has been running, in essence, the Hertz rental car business for thieves, furnishing them with cars that entered Ventura County. And when they entered Ventura County, they did so for one purpose: to hit homes and steal from businesses. This resulted in hundreds of thousands of dollars in losses. Luxury handbags and purses, sports memorabilia, high-end electronics and camera equipment, jewelry, cash, and other valuable items were taken, victimizing countless numbers of Ventura County residents. Let me share with you one case involving one Oak Park resident of Ventura County. In 2022, this Oak Park homeowner was returning from the grocery store when he noticed an SUV idling in front of his home. There was one person in the SUV behind the wheel. As he entered, he noticed that his home had been ransacked, and he saw two individuals go right by him, seeking to exit the home. He was able to stop one of them, subduing them by punching and throwing him to the ground, but the other two got away. Due to thorough investigative efforts, law enforcement officials determined that the 2008 Acura SUV that the individuals fled in was provided by Tola and Drive Power Network. burglars were tracked down by the Ventura County Sheriff's Department and arrested. All 3 were prosecuted, convicted, and sent to state prison. Crimes like these have exploded across our country and our region. Taking down a key operator who fueled crime tourism is essential to neighborhood safety. And on behalf of the residents of Ventura County, I am grateful to all the law enforcement partners assembled here, to U.S. Attorney Estrada, to my law enforcement partner, Sheriff James Fryhoff, to my fellow DA, Todd Spitzer, for continuing to aggressively investigate and prosecute these networks. It is now my pleasure to introduce Orange County District Attorney Todd Spitzer.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
So for $22 and an online application, you can get an ESTA visa to come into this country to perpetrate these crimes for 90 days at a time, and your visa is good for 2 years for $22. I am incredibly proud of the teamwork and being part of the task force, because the devastation and the impact this is having on Southern California and across our nation is unacceptable, and it's intolerable. Why drive power? Because of the cars. When these cars and the community sees them, and these individuals are specifically targeting wealthy communities where they think they can get these treasure troves, they are using this rental company in a conspiracy, because these cars are high-end cars that are designed to fit in to the communities in which they're burglarizing. That's why they are using this company with these cars. So when they drive into these communities, they're less conspicuous. As you know, we had a very serious event in Fashion Island the other day with 2 individuals, and shots were fired. And those cars were a Rolls Royce and a Ferrari. So of course these individuals want to drive into communities and look like the community in which they're going to burglarize and rob. We had a crew of 4 South Americans who are in custody in Orange County who are responsible for 9 burglaries. They have no shame, no empathy. They're here for one reason: to create havoc and devastation. And I'll leave you with this mind image, because all of you have covered the home surveillance showing these individuals scaling the patios to the 2nd floor and going inside, where most people, although we're a lot smarter, now have motion detectors, but a lot of people have not alarmed and taken precautions on their 2nd floor, 2nd story. And they go in and they steal the safes and they roll them out. And they steal these people and our community blind. But what's most scary about these crews is not just the cars that they drive into the community, it's why they're doing it. It's for surveillance purposes. They dress up in ghillie suits. They lie in wait in open spaces and survey the comings and goings of the residents of these homes. They spy on our residents to see when they go to work, what time do they go to bed, how many people live in the house, so that when they're about to hit the prey, the house, they do try, and to their credit, to go into homes that are not occupied. But God forbid they do go to a home that is occupied, and we had that in Newport Coast, where a woman was in the shower, and thank goodness she wasn't harmed. So they spy on us, they survey us, they use cars to fit in, and they create devastating harm. And if it wasn't for the partnership of the individuals and the organizations we represent being here today, and the statement we're sending not only in Southern California, all across this nation, And because of the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office, I'm extremely confident that not only will we attack this in Southern California, but this will have an absolute national impact by these federal organizations. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I will now do a short version in Spanish. If we have any Spanish language media present, please identify yourselves.
Univision and Telemundo are here.
Okay. Buenos días, mi nombre es Martín Estrada, soy el fiscal federal. Hoy anunciamos cargos criminales contra un grupo que facilitó el turismo criminal. El turismo criminal es un gran problema en este país. El turismo criminal ocurre cuando extranjeros vienen a este país para cometer delitos como robos. En los últimos años hemos visto un aumento de estos turistas criminales cometiendo robos en nuestro país. Muchos de estos turistas criminales son de Sudamérica, más específicamente del Chile. Chile es el único país latinoamericano que es parte del programa de extensión de visa, que permite visas de turista automáticas, sin la verificación que se requiere de otros turistas. Esto no es solo un problema local, estos delitos afectan a todo el país. Para mi oficina en la Fiscalía Federal, esto es un problema muy serio. Por eso, hoy anunciamos cargos contra un grupo que actuó como un cerebro para los turistas criminales. Los cargos que anunciamos hoy son contra un grupo de acusados que operaron un negocio de alquiler de carros. Pero esto no fue un negocio de alquiler ordinario. Era un negocio que solo era para los delincuentes. Los acusados alquilaban carros a los turistas criminales, insistiendo que usaran identificaciones falsas. Los acusados no solo les entregaban carro, pero también les dirigían en dónde ir para cometer los robos y otros delitos. Cuando los turistas criminales robaron suficiente mercancía, los acusados los ayudaban a vender lo que habían robado y tomaban un porcentaje de las ganancias. De esta manera, los acusados formaron un grupo que eran como entrenadores de un equipo de ladrones. Durante el periodo de 2018 a 2024, determinamos que estos acusados eran responsables por al menos 120 robos, y esos robos ocurrieron en 80 ciudades por todo el país. Los acusados recibieron más que 5.5 millones de dólares en ganancias, pero como ellos solo recibieron un porcentaje de las ganancias, las pérdidas son mucho más. Hemos archivado cargos contra 7 acusados en este caso, 6 individuos y un negocio. Los líderes eran Juan Carlos Tola y Ana Arriagada. Ellos enfrentan cargos de conspiración de comer fraude y lavado de dinero. En conclusión, los Estados Unidos es un país que ofrece oportunidad y libertad. Por eso, nuestro país es la envidia del mundo. Pero no somos un puerto seguro para criminales. Los que piensan venir a este país a cometer delitos y otros robos deben pensarlo de nuevo. Ellos tendrán consecuencias serias por sus acciones criminales. Gracias. We'll now do Q&A.
Yeah, quick question. So you said that one of the ringleaders is Juan Carlos. You have 2 pictures of 2 different Juan Carlos. Could you point out the one that's the leader?
So we have Juan Carlos Tola, and he is the father of the other Tola that you see there.
And then my other question is, you said that they're the only country, Chile is the only country that has a visa available to their citizens. Are there going to be any consequences after presenting this case to the entire country? And also, I noticed that you have the DAs of Orange County and Ventura County, but the LA County District Attorney is not here. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about that.
That was a lot of questions in one, but let me answer some of them. So one of the things, just to be clear, Chile is the only Latin American country that has the visa waiver program. So they are able to get these automatic visas. Other Latin American countries, the citizens there can get visas, but they have to go through a verification process. That's the main difference. In terms of your last question, what we have here is a collaboration of local, federal, law enforcement, public officials. We were all part of one task force which did this investigation. As I said, this was a huge investment of resources. It occurred over 6 years. These criminals were sophisticated. They used sophisticated means to conceal what they were doing. So it took a thorough investigation to uncover it and reveal all the wrongdoing that they'd committed.
So do you foresee some kind of changes in the way visas are issued to Chile or any other country for that matter?
So we are highlighting this problem and bringing it to the forefront so people can be aware of it, so people can take precautions and know that we are taking actions against crime tourists. It is not our department as a Department of Justice to address the visa program. We are prosecutors. We are law enforcement. Our job is to make sure that criminals don't get away with victimizing people in our jurisdiction.
Since we're talking about
these crime tourist.
I missed the
burglaries-
first part. Can you repeat that?
Just distinguishing the crime tourism burglaries versus local burglaries, and why would these ringleaders recruit from Chile as opposed to recruiting locally?
So the difference is these crime tourists are people coming to the country solely to commit criminal acts, mostly burglaries, thefts, things of that sort. There is a unifying aspect, cultural aspect, which Zola originally from Colombia and many of the other individuals, Latin American originally from Colombia, which certainly helps in terms of building that network. But they also found a group that was willing and able to give them cars to commit thefts, could recommend to them areas that were good to go to commit thefts, and importantly, would help them sell, fence the merchandise so they could get the proceeds from what they'd stolen.
We're talking about a
Yes, sir.
6-year period across the country. Will we ever know exactly how many crimes, how many burglaries this group was responsible for, and specifically locally in Southern California?
Our investigation is ongoing, so we will try to uncover as much of it as possible. But as you allude to, these defendants were likely responsible for much more than we currently know. I will say, even though this investigation went on for 6 years and it was a thorough investigation, the significant losses, there was definitely an uptick in the last 2 years, which made it very urgent to take down this group.
And that $35 million figure that you gave, is that from total losses across the country, or what is that specifically?
So I want to be clear, that's an estimate at the current time. The losses may be much more. Those are losses to individuals and businesses who were robbed by groups that used this business.
Does it take a
En
treaty?
español, usted decía que son robos en casas, en negocios. ¿Había algún patrón? ¿Cuál era, digamos que, sobre qué casas o sobre qué negocios iban este tipo de bandas?
Ellos iban a barrios donde pensaban que iban a sacar muchas cosas de lujo, dinero, cosas así. Pero estamos hablando no de los turistas criminales específicamente, sino que el grupo que facilitó y organizó a esos grupos cometer los robos por todo el país.
Does it take a treaty with another country to change the visa waiver program?
So it's not my understanding of the intricacies, so I'm not comfortable getting into how it can or cannot be changed.
Why are the suspect's eyes blotted out?
So that just indicates they're in custody. So you'll see we did the arrest this morning. We arrested all defendants in this case, all 6 individuals, and also one business, which is important because that was the business that they used to commit these crimes. By indicting that business, which is something we don't do that often, we're able to forfeit the assets of that business.
Was this FBI raid in Panorama City related?
Gentlemen, you had a question?
Was this a legitimate rental car company? Like, could people, like people that are not trying to participate in this crime, is this something that somebody could just rent it from LAX?
So this was a business that only catered to crooks. If you showed up with a legitimate ID, they would turn you away. They wanted false IDs from people who were going to engage in crime tourism. Yes.
The
Excuse me?
FBI agents are this morning were at a location in Panorama City. There's a bunch of cars we see. So is that related to this rental car company?
I can't confirm all the locations at this point, but there were many different search locations that were used during this operation this morning. Yes, sir.
I was asking if they were shut down, the rental agency.
The car rental agency is indicted and shut down, and we're going to seize their assets. Any other questions?
Yeah, there's 6 people there, only 4 of them were mentioned in the release. Do you have any more information on the involvement of Treble and Enderton or their city residents or anything?
We can get you that information, but all of them had different parts in this. Tola Sr. was the organizer, the brains behind the group. But as I said, they did a lot of different things. They rented the cars, they found the crime tourists, they suggested where they should go to commit crimes, they fenced the property, they used gift cards to purchase electronics, high-end items, so there was a lot that they were doing.
And it seems like the connection of the cars seems like the key to like cracking this, basically, right? Seeing that they had cars from the same place.
I think the cars were key to the operation, but I don't want to minimize the fact that they were helping to fence the goods and launder the money. And one of the things, one of the displays that you'll see is a diagram that shows how the operation worked. And the fact that there was money laundering at the end is critical because that's how these people were trying to avoid detection.
As Chief Chow said, burglaries are down, but in certain areas they're up. And DA Spitzer talked about the incident recently at the mall. I'm wondering, people will see this and they'll say, okay, are burglaries going to stop? I mean, how do we make that connection? Obviously, there's been some neighborhoods in Los Angeles, Southern California lately that this has been a huge problem. Is there any way to directly connect this group to those?
So this group is responsible, as I mentioned, for at least 120 burglaries and thefts. In law enforcement, we don't have an event like this and say mission accomplished and walk away. We keep the pressure on. That's what our job is to do. We do that in gang cases, we do that in violent crime cases, we do that in these types of cases. The key is to show people out there, victims, that we're fighting for you, and for the perpetrators, we're going to keep the pressure on, and you're going to see more federal indictments if you continue to engage in this conduct.
Are you
One
able
last
though,
question.
to draw a connection between the recent spate of San Fernando Valley burglaries to this group?
So I can't comment on any connection there, but as I mentioned, the investigation is ongoing. We'll continue to connect the dots with this group and other burglaries and thefts.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Press release is out. Copy of the indictments sent out with the email. It's also on the online version of our press release.
Great job. Great job.
Mayor, very nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Mayor Bass, I bring greetings from Julia Brownlee.
Oh, nice.
She's our area congresswoman.
Nice,
Yeah, I know
yeah.
you guys are close friends.
Todd and I served together.
In the legislature with Julia. Oh, yeah, yeah. Thank you for being here.